This is a Dell Inspiron 700M. It is a Pentium M class computer from around the year 2005. Well, from the year 2005. Not five. That would be a very weird pronunciation. Yeah. It's from the period where there was a netbook craze. Here's the bottom. Why am I moving around? This machine is what many would call a netbook, not a Chromebook, like I almost said for some reason. That would be very weird for a Chromebook to time travel and shapeshift all the way back to the year 2005. Ugh, that would be painful. And these netbooks were characterized as, especially around the mid-2000s, as really cheap, nasty machines that were not very powerful and came with Windows XP, because that was the main OS at the time, and for a lot of them would continue to ship with Windows XP because Windows Vista, and although Windows Vista actually runs pretty decently on this thing, and two, these things are weak, although this one's kind of nice. And yeah, these they tend to come with like the bare minimum amount of RAM. I said that word weird. This one originally came with 512 megabytes of RAM. Now it has 2 gigs. Some of these you could choose to have Linux on them. In fact, if you did choose Linux, that would be a massive mistake because it would be a really obscure distro of Linux, so 0 updates. Absolutely 0 updates. I can guarantee it, so everything's going to become obsolete really quickly because there's no bug fixes or software updates, nothing, because it's really obscure distro. And 2, they tend to gimp all the specs. They decrease the RAM, the storage. It's just, yeah. If you ever find like a police call booth, one of those weird blue things have police on it in like Doctor Who. If you ever find one of those, it turns out to be the TARDIS, and for whatever reason, you travel back in time to the year 2005 for whatever god-awful reason, and you want to, for another weird reason, buy a netbook. Make sure to spec it with Windows because you'll just get better specs. And even if you want Linux, you could always wipe the drive and install Linux. Yeah, you pay for Windows, but ugh, whatever. Yeah, some of these, they came with, like, really fucking small storage. Yeah, some of these netbooks were, like, absolute trash. This is one of the nice ones. It is a Dell Inspiron 700M that I have taped the labels down because these peel off from heat, which is weird because the CPU is over here and most of the heat is generated over here. I can even feel it. Not as warm, warmer. Not as warm, warmer. Not as warm, warmer. Barely even leave that. Yeah, something about these like Dell laptops, these labels wear out. They're not very good. They're not very good labels. They suck. And the adhesive sucks. And yeah, Windows XP Home Edition OEM. Go ahead and take it. I really do not care. I mostly use Linux. I have a dedicated Windows XP machine right there for all of my weird, obscure Windows program, and the exposure's all off. Weird Windows programs that will only work under Windows, or their Linux counterparts are just will not work on more modern versions of Linux. Ugh, it's weird. On the badge, we have an exposure that is not high enough. There we go. Now you can see things because things are nice and bright. We have an Intel Centrino mobile technology. Ooh. And a completely shiny Windows XP badge for some. I have never seen one of these badges do that. That is an anomaly, a complete anomaly. Maybe I'll have to phone up the SCP Foundation, tell them I have a fancy new anomaly they'd probably want to contain. Anyway, the Centrino thing, it was basically a platform where, like, three major components of the computer, the CPU, the North Bridge / chipset, and the wireless, were made by Intel. In here we have an Intel Pentium M at 1.7 gigahertz, 2 megs of cache, which for some reason, I don't know, that thing, the CPU in this thing, it feels faster than that, which has a Celeron D, although the thing, for some reason, actually has a higher CPU score. Synthetic benchmarks. Yeah. Fuck the Celeron D. Because I have a specific thing in here. The original wireless card. It's in here somewhere. Ooh. There's the original RAM. I guess we'll take that out. Found it. It's this thing. Not very fond of this wireless card. It was originally in here. There's a reason why it is no longer in this computer. Anyway, thing is, so the Centrino whole shenanigan thing. What would you even call that? Intel everything, Intel CPU, chipset / North Bridge, and wireless. So the North Bridge in here is an Intel i855GM, I believe. Something around there. And the wireless that was originally in here was, is the thing. Why am I looking through the... Oh, fuck it. You can read it yourself, because I don't like this thing enough to read off its model number. Yeah, this card sucks ass. The wireless on this computer could be summed up as fucking horseshit. It would drop things weirdly. There was a weird password character limit for whatever insane reason. This thing, it wasn't very sensitive. Complete trash. Took it out. This thing out. Well, bumps the camera or phone. Took apart a router that I had lying around. Just, you know, everyone has a junk router just lying around casually. No, they don't. Which was one of those early ones that, dang it, I can't speak. That was not as integrated and actually had an internal mini PCI slot with the card. Took the card out of that, put it in here. Holy shit, Jesus Christ on, like, I don't know, the Titanic. That thing is so much better. I can actually connect to the main router now. I don't have to connect to that damn extender. It's actually sensitive now. There's no weird character limit. So much better. Single shit. Ralink 2600, I believe. Around what that is. Anyway, yeah, I have a few gripes with this computer. One of them, if you ever think about picking up a Pentium M machine, just keep in mind that the Pentium M never got long mode. You're limited to, why am I switching hands? You are limited to 32-bit operating systems only. No 64-bit support at all. Let that sink in. That means, well, that already means that a lot of operating systems, like Arch Linux and I believe Ubuntu, and a lot of, my hand is shaking and that is not great. Let's switch to this hand. Which means you're not going to be able to run a decent chunk of operating systems. Which is kind of becoming an important thing in the 2020s and in this day and age. And some decent chunk of popular software requires long mode, so like Google Earth, for instance, because it is the first thing that popped to my mind. It's only compiled for 64-bit. That granted, you can still do a lot on these 32-bit machines. Another thing is about this Centrino thing is integrated graphics. Not good. I know it's a netbook, but like, come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, the graphics in this thing isn't very good. Like, you'd think, like, people would at least do content. Well, then again, YouTube back in, like, the mid-2000s was a lot lighter on resources. Everything back in 2005, the web in general was, like, a lot lighter. Nowadays, you have, like, 10,000 billion JavaScript files being loaded and run on the same at the same time, just to render a web page with text and images. I don't get it. I don't get the obsession with the JavaScript bloat craze. As much as I like JavaScript for as portable and kind of convenient it is to just go into about blank, blank, inspect element, and then type random code into the console to do weird weird computational things. It's kind of, it's abused. Let's turn it on. I swear to God, that fan noise is embedded into my head. There we go. Actually, let's go to System Setup. I think F2 is the button. Yes, it is. Intel Pentium M processor, 1.7 gigahertz. CPU speed, we already said that. Total memory size, 2048. For whatever reason, I read that the maximum capacity. I really hope that's not true. And Solid 4 said, ooh, I could put 4 gigs of RAM in this. No. Maximum capacity, 40 kilo megabytes, or as we in the trade would call, 40 gigabytes. I really hope that's not true, because I would like to put like an SS, well, not exactly an SSD, one of those IDE to SD card things into compact flash card things in here. Because this does not have SATA, which is kind of annoying. And I really hope I can, like, get around that somehow. Hard disk drive serial number. That seems like quite a obscure thing for the BIOS to query and bring up. System BIOS version 805. And I kind of don't plan on updating the BIOS because I feel like something bad is going to happen and I'm going to break it. Service tag DX5N391 LAN controller exist. Well, how does it exist? Is it existing well? Is it working properly? You know, whatever. Main, etc. Primary master, Toshiba, MK, blah blah blah. And then secondary master. Yeah, ID. Administrator password, etc. Boot priority order. Ooh. USB floppy disk drive. Yes, only one type of format. And basically save and exit things. We're gonna exit. Just like your standard laptop BIOS. It's bog standard. Nothing really powerful in it, but you know, whatever. The blinking cursor of doom. Ooh. The init RD file on this is for Debian is kind of big, honestly. I think it's below 40 megabytes. It's around the 40 megabyte size. It's kind of weird. Nice. And we changed the font. Now we're in, well, I suspect is graphics mode. Swap space, a dynamic swap space manager. Ooh, fancy. Zoom in pointlessly. Starting light display manager. Yes. Come on, what are you waiting for? Christmas? I just had to make that reference. Aha! No password credentials for you. Here we are, as it loads in. SSD would really make this a lot faster, but honestly. There's my messy desktop. Although, nah, it's messy. And we have our standard LXQT based window manager and stuff. Current install, there's that. That, I don't feel like going through it. That. Get Miranda, webcam viewer because I have a really cheap webcam, and that's one of the few programs I use it because it's weird. It like constantly spews its data out. I suspect it's based on like a serial or parallel based webcam. More stuff. Office, more stuff. AVI Word is kind of weird for some reason. It doesn't work, and I don't know why. Other, I think that's a suspend thing I made. Programming, dev help. Installed Emacs to try out, and I haven't yet actually really began to use it. More stuff. System tools, LX terminal, Q terminal, etc. What is that? Ah, that. stuff. Run. Log out. Go to the web browser. I mostly use this machine for what I like to call stupid Linux stuff, which consists of messing around with like weird C code and just moving things, just, you know. That's why I call it stupid Linux stuff. I imagine my channel is small enough to not get an instant copyright strike for playing like a few seconds of someone else's video. Who am I gonna choose? Ah, no script. My old friend makes the web actually bearable, just like Adblocker, except with no script. I use it to stop websites from doing those scripts that make obnoxious ass pop-up things show up, because those are annoying. And I really appreciate those cookie pop-up dialogues. Something tells me that lawmakers should think more about the consequences of the things they pass before just immediately passing it. Or maybe they already did that and they didn't consider. Yeah, they probably didn't believe, they probably thought companies would, or entities in general would just, they probably thought that cookie usage would go down. But no, let's, of course that's not going to happen. Why would something reasonable like that happen? It's gonna work. Yeah, it's gonna work. Settings, quality. YouTube, shut up. My God. That's why I use like CureCube. That's like the main reason why my phone is jailbroken, so that I can like modify the YouTube app to remove all the goddamn ads, because you play like 40 quadrillion 30-second ads at the beginning of each fucking video, and you pepper them all over the damn place, and it pisses me off. Can you tell I hate ads? Yeah, please 360p video, alright. YouTube is quite a pain in the ass website to run. We go into here, because why not? Or maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Whatever. One last thing. You name. There we go. If you want more information, there you go. Yeah, I think that's, I think I can wrap this up now.